So thank you, Sir Graham. Immaculate timing, of course, military. It always surprises me that, it's so easy to get wrapped in our own world, but we have to always be conscious of the world that exists around us. Just yesterday, the doomsday clocks moved closer to global catastrophe. But I take from Sir Graham's session there, I keep thinking I'm standing in a minefield, but assuming that, we do live in interesting times. There is uncertainty, but we stop, and there is then a way forward. There is a global appreciation and a desire and an understanding across businesses, and we deal with all the time, that we need to address this. We need to have the resolve to move forward, but there is a way to address it. So next up, we have José Lázaro Pinos, and he's a security solutions expert. He's going to be talking today a little bit about and sharing, and I point you to the Digital Defence Report, and he's going to, that's in there. It's a really great read. I don't expect you to read it all now, and please don't, because Jose is obviously going to walk through some of it. But he's going to look through and talk through the Microsoft's lens of what they are doing and what they are seeing. They take trillions of signals, and some of this is going to corroborate the stuff indeed on the Ukraine conflict, etc. And he's going to share with you what Microsoft is seeing. But not only what are they seeing and some of the statistics that we live in that shape the world of cyber, but also look at what Microsoft's answer in some way is to doing what Satya, CEO, said of doing more with less. So without further ado, Jose, may I introduce you on stage? Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Sir Graham. It was a very insightful presentation. Thank you for that. My name is José Lázaro Pinos. I'm a security architect at Microsoft. I work for the partner area, so I support partners such as ITC to build their security practice. My area of expertise is Microsoft Sentinel, Protect Against SIEMs with SIEM and XDR. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can do more with less with Microsoft security solutions. But before I do that, I think it's important that we have a quick overview of what the Microsoft Digital Defense Report is, as it's been mentioned quite a few times, as you are now, and Sir Graham. So, having said that, this report I find really interesting. We've been doing it for a couple of years, and it's basically giving you insights of what's going on in the cyber industry and what the threat landscape looks like. This report tells you about new types of cyber attacks, cyber mercenaries, and then also the integration of cyber attacks with military operations. So, first of all, I think we have to say what's our unique vantage point at Microsoft. We, as an organization, global security vendor, top vendor in the world in security, get to analyze over 43 trillion signals of intelligence every day. This number has actually gone up now since our acquisition of RiskIQ. We have now also developed our own product, which is Defender for Threat Intelligence. Absolutely phenomenal, the integrations that it offers, how you can then map an IP address, URLs, to a cyber group back in Russia. And then not only that, you can see which other attacks these entities are running against any other people within the world. So, on top of that, we also have over 8,500 engineers, researchers, data scientists, frontline responders, over 77 countries. We are fully invested. And then we have our amazing partner ecosystem, over 15,000 across the world, who are helping us to win this battle against cyber criminals and build cyber resilience. Also remember, we have pledged over $20 billion worth of investment over the next 5 years to invest in security, to make the world a safer place. So I think we are in the game to stay and to win. I only have 20 minutes today, so this report has 5 chapters, so I'm going to be highlighting what I think is most relevant. But if you have any questions, please just have a read at the report, and you can come, say hello, and ask, okay? So, having said that, what is the state of cybercrime? What are we seeing, just analyzing all of these signals of intelligence? We're seeing that cybercrime continues to rise as the industrialization of cybercrime economy lowers the skill barrier to entry. So this is now providing third parties, people going to the dark web and being able to pay someone to run, for example, a denial of service, DDoS attack against a competitor for just $200. That's where we're at. So if you don't have the right protection in place, you are going to get hit. That is a fact. We have that the threat of ransomware just keeps increasing. These groups are attacking governments, businesses, and critical infrastructure. The problem with ransomware is that once you are ransomed, you might pay, okay? You might get your data back, you might not, who knows? And then if you think about it, then what is the point of paying this ransom? You're just subsidizing these groups just to keep operating. You shouldn't do it. Instead, what you should do, take that money, invest in security, so this doesn't happen again to you. On top of that, we have credential phishing schemes affecting all sorts of inboxes, personal inboxes, business inboxes. I keep getting the emails saying, congratulations, José, you've won this £500 voucher. And I'm thinking, I never win a thing. I so wish that these emails were real. They're not, unfortunately. They're trying to get me to click on the link so they can push some cookies into my browser and steal my data. As simple as that. Then, overall, we found that the most effective defense against ransomware includes enabling multi-factor authentication, frequent security patches on your devices, applications, and applying zero trust principles across your infrastructure. One more thing, we have our amazing Microsoft Digital Crimes unit, who are taking that legal path to take down the infrastructure being used by malicious actors to break into your systems. So nation-state threats, these are basically governments, right? Nation-states just attacking, making sure that they can keep the power. What we're seeing is an increased targeting of critical infrastructure, particularly in the IT sector, financial services, transportation systems, and communications infrastructure. We had groups such as Nobilium. I think Arno mentioned the attack they had at Orion, SolarWinds, in 2020. They just keep operating. This is a Russian-based group, Nobilium, and they're moving away now from targeting the software supply chain to now targeting the IT suppliers, IT providers supply chain, which is a main issue. This is where we rely on our partners, such as ITC, to have top security in place, right? That's why they're an MXDR partner. They have to go through a verification process and make sure that they're all ticking all of those boxes to ensure that the customers are safe. Another important fact in here, we have Iran, North Korea, China, quite active, unfortunately. For Iran becoming more aggressive around ransomware, just moving away from targeting regional adversaries to now the US and EU victims. North Korea as well, targeting defense companies, aerospace companies, and also doing crypto operations so they can subsidize the regime. The cyber mercenaries, which are basically groups, organizations, individuals developing the tools necessary to break into your systems. And unfortunately, what we found is that the best customer that these people have are governments. And something interesting as well around exploitations, it takes 14 days for a 0-day to be out in the wild. So you have 2 weeks to patch your systems. If not, you're very likely to get compromised. Now, moving on, we have devices and infrastructure. This is all to do with the digital transformation, modernization of your business, and the struggle to keep up to date with what's happening, what's going on. This area focuses on IoT and OT, so Internet of Things and operational technology. IoT, anything that connects to the internet. My phone, a camera, a thermostat, I mean, anything, right? So the challenge here is that we found that 32% of firmware images analyzed contain at least 10 known critical vulnerabilities. So you go on a website, buy this managed switch, whatever it is, you plug it in, and that device has been manufactured 5 years ago, that's not been patched, unfortunately. So there's not enough regulation. So the takeaway here is that now governments are trying to develop policies, right? To make some standards to ensure that when that device is being sold, it needs to be up to date. It's not the end user responsibility, it should be the vendor's responsibility to get that done. Moving on, we have the cyber influence operations. This is an area I'm very passionate about. This is to do with democracy. For a democracy to flourish, we have to rely on having trustworthy information. So because of that, what we're seeing is that nation states and governments are using techniques and becoming more aggressive in this area, and then they're trying to shape opinion to discredit adversaries and promote discord. Imagine what's happened with Russia and Ukraine, for example, right? If you go to Russia, there's nothing happening, right? In the social media, internally, you can't see anything. Whereas we're here, and we understand that what's happening right there is really awful. Same thing happened with China and COVID-19 as well. When we found out, it was just too late. The virus was here already. So information is power, and nation states know that. So there is something called synthetic media, which is basically images, videos, audio that could be generated with artificial intelligence, right? The challenge for us, human beings, is nearly impossible to tell whether these images or videos or whatever it is are real. So that's happened with Facebook, for example, presidential campaigns just going on in America and the US. We just won't be able to tell whether that was real or not. So at Microsoft, we're developing a technology called digital provenance, which basically is a way that will give content creators, authors, to digitally sign these files, this content. Which means that yourselves as end users will be able to verify from end to end, whereas that file or video have been tampered with. Really powerful. Looking forward to see what happens in this area. We also invested in OpenAI recently, ChatGPT. I'm sure many of you have heard of that. So we're now looking at integrations with our SIEM tool and see how we can take things to the next level, which is going to happen. Moving on, we have cyber resilience. This is to do with understanding the risks and rewards of modernization. Okay? I think that the biggest takeaway in this area is that the vast majority of successful cyber attacks could have been prevented by using basic security hygiene. What does that mean? That means that you could have prevented 98% of cyber attacks if you had enabled multi-factor authentication, you had applied zero trust principles, so least privilege, verify explicitly, and always assume the breach. Using more anti-malware. So I'm hoping that you're using Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, but if you're not, make sure that your antivirus has EDR features, built-in threat intelligence, machine learning, and integrations with third parties, because sometimes we also use third parties. That's not bad. It's not a bad thing. Then keep up to date. Don't wait for Patch Tuesday. Just roll out those updates, please. And then protect your data, which is the lifeblood of your business. So that was a very brief overview. The report contains over 120 pages. So please read, and it's really interesting. You learn a lot. So having said that, I think that now I can tell you how you can do more with less with Microsoft Security. Okay? So CISOs, security professionals, experts, leaders are under pressure. We found in a survey that 82% of security leaders are feeling pressure to reduce costs. This is due to three challenges, I would say, which is that conventional security tools have not kept the pace with the evolution of cybercrime. We found that cost of security breaches is rising. It will cost you an absolute fortune to recover from a ransomware attack. And then not only that, but then that reputational damage that you've done to your business. And then resources are constrained, not only financially, but also talent. It's really hard to find the right talent, right? And this is why, again, we have to rely on having those experts that will look after ourselves, after our resources. So, and then you have the board of directors wanted to see that return of investment. So I gave you 10 million, right? What are the results? What have you achieved? Hard, really tough. So how can we help you? So we help you in three ways. We simplify the vendor management, we reduce the threats with AI and automation, and we improve operational efficiency. How does that work? Right. So we simplify vendor management by replacing up to 50 product categories. Endpoint protection, email protection, encryption, network security, and many more. And most of these, we can use one license. That will lead you to up to 60% savings with Microsoft 365 E5 security and compliance. I'm going to expand this in a minute. Then let's say that instead you have a multi-cloud environment, you've got AWS, GCP, and then you want to integrate that into one place, right? Which is good. To have that asset inventory, to know what you have, and then to be able to apply compliance on top, which is what you want. You want to make sure that you're compliant, that you're fully protected. So you can do that through Defender for Cloud. You bring in those resources, and then you can take advantage of the built-in cloud security posture management. Okay? You can run assessments, FCA, PCI, SOC 2, you name it. We've got it. And then not only tells you what's wrong, but tells you how to fix it. Overall, we have a 30% average savings by unifying all of these solutions into one place. So this is how we get up to a 60% savings. You can see on the left side, we have that it might cost you around $63 per user to have all of these features. Whereas if you were to go in for the full E3 suite, it would cost you around $24. So it makes sense financially. And more than happy to talk solution by solution, features, capabilities at some point as well. Now we have reduced threats with AI and automation. This is the power of Microsoft Sentinel. This is the integration of all of those assets, infrastructure, resources, applications, endpoints into one place, that single pane of glass. That will lead to 88% less time to respond to threats through automation. We have something called the Logic App Designer, which basically allows you to create a workflow of a response for an incident, right? You can say there's an account that's compromised, so through pure automation on a Sunday, 3 a.m., you could reset the password, block the account, revoke authentication tokens, or send an email to your administrator. Then we have Purview as well, 96% time spent less in monitoring through Microsoft Purview. This is to do with DLP, protect your data, and then we can connect that to Sentinel to add those automated responses. And then 90% reduce alert fatigue. Sentinel's got many engines built within the SIEM, which, for example, you've got the Fusion engine for ransomware correlation. You have built-in threat intelligence. You've got built-in machine learning, and many more things that will help you to analyze and to prioritize incidents. That will lead you overall to over 10.5 million of additional end-user productivity from automation and process improvements. So if you have access to the slides, just please review these and ask any questions if you have later on. Improve operational efficiency. Okay, this is to do with SSO, for example, single sign-on. If you were to enable single sign-on in your organization, you will reduce the amount of password resets by 75%. How does that work? Having one set of credentials for all of your applications, being able to apply security, compliance on top of your username and password. You can, for example, say that user can only sign in from this device, which needs to be compliant. Otherwise, you're not getting in, even though you've got the password right and the MFA right. You can set up your standards through conditional access. Then we have over 73% improved efficiency of network-related IT with Azure Network Security, hybrid work, remote work, allowing people to connect through your network through VPNs. You have express route VPNs, allowing that direct connection to data centers, etc. That overall will lead to $479,000 in human capital reduced by redeploying IT, and this is to do with Intune. So being able to deploy, fully manage a device within minutes with autopilot. It takes like nothing, zero interaction. Really powerful tool. And then, of course, we rely on our partners such as ITC to deploy Sentinel, right? And I've seen that ITC can do this within minutes sometimes, depends on the requirements, obviously, but that's a level of automation, being able to put all of that security just out of the box, right? Built in within a template and then enhance it as you have those conversations with them. Okay, so again, please review this. Any questions, just ask later on. With that, I conclude the presentation. Thank you very much. I know it was quite a lot of information. I only had 20 minutes, but thank you very much for your attendance and your attention today.
Okay, so thank you, Jose. Again, I think there is so much wealth, and again, I come back to the previous point around, there is a lot of complexity, but there's a lot going on to enable us as businesses to be able to address it. Some of this stuff is really easy, some of it isn't, but a lot of customers that we speak to will say, okay, there's a lot out there, how do I navigate through it? And again, this is where really we come in. We don't build the technology, we help enable it and we help businesses utilize it. And hopefully we will be here, Jose will be here later today. There's an Ask the Expert session as well. But anyway, I realize there's a lot of information that's gone through the last sessions. Hopefully you found it useful. We now have a 20-minute break. So if we can get back here at 35 past for our keynote. Thank you very much.